العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على Dear Mu'mineen and Mu'minat, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Congratulations on the birthday of Imam Jawad alayhi salam and the upcoming birthday of Amirul Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the opportunity to learn from them, live like them, visit them in this world and gain their intercession inshallah in the hereafter. The discussion that we normally have on Thursday nights is Islamic ethics or akhlaq in general, purification. And since we are remembering and celebrating Imam Jawad alayhi salam, and inshallah tomorrow night we have the celebration of the birth of Imam Ali alayhi salam, as well as the program on Saturday, inshallah, the special fun program that inshallah will also have some learning through it on Saturday as well. However, tonight I wanted to share a word of wisdom from Imam Jawad alayhi salam, which is in line with also our akhlaq or purification ethics and how we should be in general as human being in our interactions and relationships with one another. In specific, the hadith here is regarding how we should avoid being enemies of anybody. So the Imam salawatullah wa salamu alayhi, he says, لا تعادين أحدا. Do not consider anybody as your enemy until حتى تعرف الذي بينه وبين الله تعالى. The first thing that you have to do before you consider one as your enemy is to assess how they are in the eyes, or how is their relationship with God. So if somebody has a great relationship with God, you don't want to be obviously their enemy. For many reasons, obviously. One is very obvious: God is the ultimate power. And if somebody has a good relationship with God, therefore God responds to them. God answers their prayers. If somebody is pure, somebody has a good heart, God listens to them and answers their prayers. Imagine you harm someone in that position, and because of that they pray and ask God for something. What is going to happen? So this is an obvious one. So the Imam says, لا تعادين أحدا حتى تعرف الذي بينه وبين الله تعالى فإن كان محسنا لم يسلمه إليك. If he is a good one, a good person, God would not leave their matter in your hand. So you become their enemy, God is not going to become their enemy. If the person is a good doer, is a muhsin, is a righteous person, God is going to be their support, their helper. So your animosity of them, obviously when we choose, God forbid, we choose to become an enemy of somebody, we are taking parties, we are considering ourselves as a party against them. And when we do that, naturally the one who is the friend of your friend is your friend, and naturally the friend of your enemy is your enemy. That's naturally how we deal with things. Obviously righteous people don't look at it just in that equation on its own, but they also look at their friends are based on goodness, and therefore friend of their friend is a good person, righteous person. friend of the enemy is not based on just being an enemy, and therefore our animosity is towards their actions, towards their evil acts. So a friend of them is also an evildoer. That's how we assess things. So then the Imam continues to say, فإن كان محسنا لم يسلمه الله إليك, or لم يسلمه إليك فلا تعاده, therefore you cannot be his enemy. وإن كان مسيئا, what happens if he is a wrongdoer? The muhsan, we said obviously we cannot be their enemies, because God will not, say, give them to you, as in surrender their matters in your hands. Like I don't like him, therefore I'm going to curse them and pray that God destroys them. God wouldn't listen to me, obviously, as long as they're righteous people. So then what if they're wrongdoers? وَإِن كَانَ مُسِيئًا فَإِنَّ عِلْمَكَ بِهِ يَكْفِيكَ فَلَا تُعَادِهِ. Subhanallah. This is an amazing part. This is where the Imam is teaching us to ascend above the worldly things and how we see things. This is where we see friends of God, we see prophets, we see the most righteous people, that even their enemy, they don't detest their enemy, they don't have animosity towards their enemy. This is very, very important for us to understand. They often say a statement in Arabic. They say al-hawashi. Some of you may have heard that, mawashi. Hawashi comes from hashia. Hashia are the people around. And so the saying goes, they are like cattle. Mashia is the cattle. Normally people around the righteous ones, the pious ones, but they are not themselves there. Sometimes they become, excuse the terms, like the cattle, meaning blindly walking. To the degree that sometimes the great individuals, like the Prophet, like Ahlul Bayt, the Imams of Ahlul Bayt, they have, obviously they're enemies of the action. They detest the action of the enemy of God. They have that kind of, basically they have the bara, if you want, dissociation with the enemy of God and so on. Nonetheless, it is not a personal matter. Whereas some people make it a personal matter. Some people deal with, some of the followers of Ahlul Bayt, even some speakers, get on the minbar and deal with those who harm the Prophet or harm the Ahlul Bayt in a way as if it's a personal matter. They start slandering them, they start offending them, attacking them from the podium, from the manabir, in their writings, make perhaps even sometimes movies or videos or whatever, as if it is a personal issue that they have an animosity towards the actual individual, and they have to make it known and so on. Whereas the Prophet ﷺ and his progeny, the purified progeny ﷺ themselves, they were not like that. Themselves, even when they were harmed by some people, they continued to treat them well until most of these people changed their minds. The Prophet ﷺ, the very famous narration that Sunni and Shia narrate, when he arrived at Ta'if, he had sought refuge to Ta'if from Mecca. They were, it was so difficult being in Mecca around, obviously, the mushrikeen, the polytheists of Quraysh, that they were harming him, throwing things at him, doing all sorts of things to him. That he took a break, if you want, wanted a breather, took a break and went to Ta'if. They went ahead, knowing that he went, They went ahead and warned the people of Ta'if that if you allow him and respect him and give him the room to speak, he will ruin your city. He will turn your city upside down. So be careful of him. What they did, they sent their youth, all the young ones, so that they disrespect him and threw rocks and sticks and all sorts of things at him. So he had to, in fact, flee their city. He did until he went outside the city bleeding. That one of the companions who was with him, he says, I saw him uttering some words, and I was wondering, what is he saying? Perhaps now he's cursing these people, asking God to destroy them. Instead, I heard him saying the very famous statement that often we say, and inshallah we mean, Allahumma hdi qawmi فَإِنَّهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Oh my Lord, guide my people because they don't know. See, this ilmuka, this is literally what Imam Jawad alayhi salam is saying here. وَإِن كَانَ مُسِيئًا فَإِنَّ عِلْمَكَ بِهِ يَكْفِيكَهُ فَلَا تُعَادِلْ. Your knowledge of the fact that he has a bad relationship with God is enough. That he is musi, he is a wrongdoer. That is enough. That the fact that you are aware of his lack of wisdom, lack of knowledge, lack of ethics and morals, therefore acting in a way that puts him in the category of enemy of God. That knowledge itself suffices you. Therefore, don't make him don't act like he's an enemy. Don't treat him as your enemy. In other words, they say the common saying that even one enemy is one too many. Yes, you can never have enough friends, but one enemy is one too many. You cannot even sleep knowing that you have, like sleep in peace and be completely in peace, knowing that you have one enemy. Now sometimes it could be about what he could or he or she could do. I don't mean espouse by no means, I mean that. But what they could do to you is one thing. Besides the fact that we know of the realm of ruh, beyond the physical world. Inshallah, we're not stuck in our physical bodies in a way that we don't realize that we are also we are a combination of body and soul, and the ruh is there, and ruh is powerful. Negative energy spreads. They call it negative energy if you want, but we call it the power of the ruh, either positive or negative. An enemy with animosity brings in negativity into the circle of wherever they are. If you're part of a community that they are a part of, if you're part of the family, if you're siblings, if you're husband and wife, if you have any kind of animosity, it is toxic, it is harmful beyond what they could also decide to do and harm on a physical level. On a spiritual level, it's harmful enough, it's negative enough, it's toxic enough that one enemy is one too many. Therefore, subhanAllah, the Imam is basically closing all gates on us so that we don't hold. I often tell people, if you feel bad towards someone, where is that feeling? If I feel bad towards somebody, where is that feeling? Where does that feeling reside?
Inside yourself.
Inside myself, Hassan. It's not in them. It's in me. If I have hatred, where is that? It's in my heart. If I have animosity, hatred, vengeance, any of those things, it is residing within me. And therefore it's harming me before anybody else. just like jealousy in the hadith, and I'll finish with this one from Imam Ali alayhi salam. He says, لِلَّهِ دُرُّ الْحَسَدِ مَا أَعْدَلَهُ. This is a very beautiful statement in fact in the use of metaphor and so on. To translate it not word by word, rather the meaning, he says, how beautiful is this the jealousy, not as an action, jealousy as an entity. He says, how beautiful and just is jealousy. How? Not to be jealous towards anybody. This is very important for us to understand. Stay with me so that we don't get it wrong. The Imam is not saying it's good to be jealous. He's saying jealousy itself is so fair. لِلَّهِ دُرُّ الْحَسَدِ مَا أَعْدَلَهُ. How fair is jealousy? Why? He says because it starts with its owner and it burns him. Whoever is holding that, who's the owner of that? Whoever is being jealous, yeah? He says it starts with its owner and it burns him. It destroys him. It destroys the one who holds it. You hold a grudge, it's destroying you. You hold jealousy in your heart, it's destroying you. You hold hatred in your heart, it destroys you. You hold animosity, vengeance, any of those negativities, we hold it within us, it's destroying us. Therefore, don't hold them. People do wrong you, forgive them. It makes you feel better. If you think of, now we go to the opposite of that. If you look at love, often in the hadith, the opposite of jealousy is love actually. Although it could be different in terms of, but it's because it's the essence of it is lack of love. Essence of jealousy is lack of love. If you love the other, you would never be jealous with them. So, if you have love, if you have forgiveness, if any of those beautiful feelings, to have love, to have forgiveness, to have kindness, to have generosity, to have any of these beautiful concepts within us, what does it do to us? It makes us blossom. It makes us happy. It makes us so much more well, both physically and spiritually. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the name of Imam Jawad alayhi salam, with the shafa'ah of Imam Jawad and his grandfather Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and grandfather Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi afdalus salawat wa tahiyyat, to grant us hearts empty of animosity, empty of hatred, and filled with love and kindness and forgiveness. We ask Him to make us amongst those who listen to what's said and follow what's best. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu wa sallama ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyyina Muhammad wa alihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin. It is Thursday night, eve of Friday. I ask mu'mineen and mu'minat to remember all the marhumeen, especially of our family members and our loved ones, especially those who passed away recently, with al-Fatiha and as-salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. اللهم صل على بسم الله اللهم صل